This video describes Ramses II, pharaoh of the 19th dynasty of the New Kingdom of Egypt, who lived from about 1303 BC to 1213 BC. There are some interesting stories about him, so please watch to the end. His long reign and its impact. Ramses II ruled Egypt for 67 years, a long period that had a profound impact on the country's history. His long reign brought political, economic, and cultural stability to the country, and enabled Egypt to usher in its golden age. For example, during the reign of Ramses II, Egypt won many wars and improved relations with its neighbors. Thus, the long reign of Ramses II transformed Egypt into a powerful nation, which continues to influence the country today. Ramses II is known for his magnificent architectural projects, and these are an important part of his legacy. He built many temples and monuments to demonstrate his authority over Egypt and his devotion to the gods. The most famous is the Temple of Abu Simbel, featuring massive statues and intricate carvings. These structures bear witness to the greatness and creative genius of Ramses II to this day. Ramses II deeply influenced Egyptian culture and art, making his reign a golden age of art. Under his rule, literature, music, and art flourished and new styles emerged. For example, many poems and stories were composed during this period, and mural paintings and sculptures also show a unique style. Thus, the reign of Ramses II represents the development and diversity of Egyptian culture. Abu Simbel Temple, an architectural marvel. The Abu Simbel Temple was built to demonstrate Ramses II's power and devotion to the gods. The temple was planned as a monumental structure to emphasize the strength and divinity of his reign. The huge statue of Ramses II carved into the temple symbolizes his greatness. The Abu Simbel Temple is an important architectural monument that conveys the power and faith of Ramses II to the present day. The Abu Simbel Temple is an example of the advanced architectural techniques and unique design of ancient Egypt. The temple is characterized by its massive rock carvings and intricate ornamentation. Inside the temple, murals depicting scenes from the battles and myths of Ramses. The Abu Simbel Temple is an excellent example of the technical prowess and artistic flair of its time. In modern times, the Abu Simbel Temple has become a symbol of Egypt and is familiar to people around the world. The temple has become an important resource for understanding the culture and history of ancient Egypt. Many tourists visit the temple to experience firsthand the greatness of ancient Egypt. Today, the Abu Simbel Temple continues to be an Egyptian legacy that conveys its value to the world. Battle of Kadesh, the greatest chariot battle in history. The Battle of Kadesh was the culmination of the struggle for supremacy between ancient Egypt and the Hittite Empire. The battle was a critical moment in the balance of power between the two sides in the face of Egyptian expansionist policies and Hittite resistance. The two countries had long been at odds over control of the Syrian region. The Battle of Kadesh was an important turning point in the international relations of the period. Ramses II showed in this battle that he was a brilliant strategist. He led the Egyptian army with skillful military strategy and personal courage. In particular, his quick response to a surprise attack by the enemy forces demonstrates the height of his leadership. Ramses II's strategic thinking and leadership shone through in the Battle of Kadesh. Although the Battle of Kadesh was not a tactical victory, it had a profound impact on later Egyptian foreign policy. The battle did not produce a decisive victor, and as a result, Ramses II was forced to seek a diplomatic solution. After the battle, Egypt and the Hittite Empire signed the first international peace treaty in history. The Battle of Kadesh was not only a battle, but also a catalyst that paved the way for ancient diplomacy. Many wives and children. Ramses II had a large family with numerous wives and children. Through his many marriages, he strengthened his political alliances and expanded his own influence. For example, one of his principal wives, Nefertari, played an important role in his reign. Ramses II's family played an important role in his reign, both politically and personally. Ramses II's family relationships greatly influenced his policies and reign. Family members participated in his political decisions and sometimes played diplomatic roles. His children served in high-ranking positions and supported Ramses. His family was an important resource in preserving and strengthening the political power of the dynasty. Ramses II faced the problem of succession and had to devise a strategy to secure the dynasty's future. This was because, despite having many children, defining a successor was a complicated matter. From among his sons, Meru-Ibtahau was ultimately chosen as his successor. The choice of Ramses II's successor was an important issue for the continuity and stability of his dynasty. The first international peace treaty, the peace treaty between Egypt and the Hittite Empire, came after years of conflict and negotiations. The two countries had been fighting over territory and influence for decades, and continued warfare was detrimental to both sides. After the Battle of Kadesh, the two countries negotiated and ultimately opted for peace. This peace treaty illustrates the complex relationship between ancient powers and the evolution of diplomacy. Ramses II used his diplomatic skills and strategic thinking to bring about the peace treaty. He decided that peace through diplomacy was in the best interest of his country rather than war. He actively engaged in negotiations to improve relations with his enemy, the Hittite Empire. Ramses II's diplomatic strategy contributed greatly to the stability and prosperity of Egypt throughout his reign. The peace treaty was an important milestone in the history of diplomacy in the ancient world. It was the first example of long-term peace and stability between great powers, and it had a profound impact on later generations. The treaty was used as a model for peaceful settlement. In the later development of international relations, the peace treaty between Egypt and the Hittite Empire was a major achievement in the ancient art of diplomacy, the importance of which is still recognized today. Hair color of Ramses II. In fact, when the mummy of Ramses II was discovered, it was discovered that his hair was red. This suggests that ancient Egyptians may have dyed their hair using natural dyes such as henna. Such personal details provide interesting insights into their daily lives and beauty practices. It is a fascinating discovery that gives us a glimpse into a private side of Ramses II that is never mentioned in history textbooks. How was it? In this article, we have explained Ramses II. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and like this video. History Spectrum.